Hello and good evening and welcome to the Swis and John show. Tonight, without my friend Swis, who is absent, he's occupied with work. He sends you the best regards, and I have a new co-host for tonight, a very good friend of the channel. I will introduce him a little bit later personally, and first of all, hello and good evening, Mohammad.
Hello, John. Thank you very much for letting me join the show today.
Yeah, so it's always a pleasure. We've been talking a lot behind the scenes in the after show, and we thought that you would be an equivalent replacement. Maybe this is the start of a new career for both of us. So maybe we're taking over this internet space.
I hope so. We'll see how we go today. Well, first,
Okay.
one night at a time.
Yes, your first appearance live on air. You've been commenting a lot on other channels, but I think it's your first time live on one of the shows. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. It's my first time live. So please be kind to me in the comments.
You never know. Okay, so let's start with some stuff that happened during the week. As we all know, AP is celebrating their 50th anniversary of the Royal Oak. But not only they brought an armada of anniversary models of their Royal Oak, now they introduced three Code 1159 models, and we both agreed to I think you or we have a browser tab open.
Oh yeah, I've closed that down.
Yeah.
My apologies.
No problem. So yes, so AP introduced a line of tourbillons, and we both agreed that this may be the one that we should talk about. Or did I screw that up and you meant a different watch?
No, I think I meant this watch. This is definitely the watch I meant.
Okay, so we're talking here about Code 1159 Flying Tourbillon. Flying tourbillon is you can identify it because it doesn't have a bridge on the dial side, so that is a so-called flying tourbillon. And what really is remarkable on this particular watch is that it has an onyx dial. Onyx is a black stone, and yes, AP is following the tradition of other watchmakers, and they introduced those gorgeous black dials. So, what is your opinion about it?
Oh, I think the black dial's incredible. It's a kind of pure black. It does look gorgeous, and I like the way that they've got the Audemars Piguet listed on the top, and how the dial is very clean as well. So there's no kind of hour markets or anything in the way, so you kind of appreciate the quality of the dial. The hands look amazing, and obviously you've got the tourbillon. I think it's a very elegant and classy watch.
I love that they coated the tourbillon cage in black, which just gives the extra edge, in my opinion, to this particular watch. Just imagine they left it silver colored. I think it would be only half of the beauty of this particular watch.
Yep, it's a gorgeous watch. I also like the obviously the case is fantastic, but also the strap as well. It's the kind of rigid strap that looks beautiful as well, and it kind of on the gentleman in the photos it wears beautifully as well.
Yes, so yes, this kind of weave strap is becoming more and more popular. I think I've seen it with Blancpain. I also saw it on Glashütte Original on the CQ, and the Code 1159 also features this kind of strap, and I like it because it's a little bit less formal than an alligator strap, but it's still elegant and subdued, and it fits the Code 1159 very well.
Exactly, and it wraps around the wrist beautifully as well. I was fortunate a few weeks ago. I did go to visit AP House, and I did try on the Code 1159, and with a very similar strap to that the one you've got on screen now, and it felt really comfortable and kind of contoured your wrist very well.
Did you try the rose gold or the white gold?
It was the rose gold 1159, the chronograph. I think it was with a blue dial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a gorgeous watch.
So I just brought the movement view from this particular watch. Many viewers know that most of the tourbillons are manually wound. So having a flying tourbillon with an automatic winding is something really special. I'm personally not a fan of that new approach that AP took. In my opinion, their movement construction looks very industrial, very clean, and not really emotional, just like the old ones. Not sure what your thought is about that.
Yeah, yeah, you're correct on that point, because if you look at the front of the watch, it's got a very elegant look, but when you turn it around, the kind of movement does look a bit too industrial, and doesn't kind of look to have the same kind of class as the front of the watch.
Yeah, maybe I'm insulting people at AP here, but if you see that edge, and you can see the reflection here, it looks like it's machine beveled. So it looks like a machine anglage, not really handmade, because that should be perfect on a machine on a handmade anglage. But I'm not sure if this is a prototype or if it's just a matter of reflection. But I would prefer to go a little bit deeper into this kind of anglage if it's really hand finished, and it would be disappointing if it would not be. So let's have a look at the viewers. We have here Speedy Hernandez from Hawaii. Hello, aloha. We have Chris Clues. Wow, Jonathan, you have upgraded Swis with Mohammad. Only joking, Swis. Well, to be honest, I'm not sure if I want Swis back. We will see how this goes.
Thank you, Chris, for that comment.
Mrs. Higgins is saying hello. We have
Mrs.
Mike
Higgins.
David. We have Mike David here from New Zealand. Good morning. Dodger hopped on to say hello, Mohammad, and Jonathan Quayle Higgins to have a great show. Thank you very much. You too, Dodger. And yeah, maybe one day we see you here in the questions or in the panel. So Speedy Hernandez says, not a fan of the look of the strap, to be honest. Well, everybody can have their own opinion. And for cheap money, you can switch out the strap to your liking. So we have here CPCWC. Hi all. Hello. Good to see you. And yes, so I would like to, yes, this is actually my favorite image of this particular watch. And I remember that I, in particular, have been very critical towards the Code 1159. The first ones really didn't excite me.
Yep.
That was due to the fact the first ones have been in rose gold. And I think the first edition of dials with those kind of modern numerals didn't really hit me. I'm on the record for saying that, in my opinion, the Code 1159 has great potential, but they need to work on the dial. And I see that this is happening right now, and I'm much more excited about seeing this, not only because it's a tourbillon, but you can see that this watch has a lot of potential. What do you think, Mohammad?
Absolutely, I think you're absolutely correct. This watch is really elegant and classy, and yeah, they can kind of take that kind of design aspect to the other 1159s. It'll certainly improve the range and make these watches hopefully as kind of as popular as the Royal Oak.
Yes, I think AP is trying to get a second foot on the ground as an alternative to
Yeah.
the Royal Oak, you can see that they put a lot of thought and effort into this watch project. What you also have to keep in mind when the Code 1159 was introduced, they for sure have already decided to do those tourbillons. So that evolution of the dial was already in the making. So what we see now is basically finished projects for AP, and they're working on the next or the next generation after the next generation. So it is always an evolving project, particularly with new watches, and you can see some progress. And I'm happy that that this is much more pleasing than the first editions. Also, to be complete, the case mid here is in black, and that is black ceramic. And I really like when AP is playing with those colors, be it a rose gold case mid or a ceramic case mid, just like in this particular watch.
Yep, I think you made some fantastic points, Jonathan. I think it's going to be a strange show because I know you and Swis sometimes disagree
Yes,
on watches and we agreeing too much.
Well, this is why I like you, and you know, you're bringing so many reasons to drop Swiss indefinitely. So. So I like how this show is going, to be honest, and yes, so keep on doing that. Okay, so I think we covered the AP long enough, and I think it's about time that we learn a little bit about yourself, if you allow us. This is not a police investigation, but maybe the viewers want to know a little bit more about you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Jonathan. I've been collecting watches. Well, firstly, I'm based here in London in the UK, and I've been collecting watches for about 25 years. So I kind of started off with Tag Heuer. It was my kind of first watch, and I bought one of the SEL models back in the late 90s, and I literally wore that watch every day for years. And I went through like 3 or 4 different straps on the same watch. But then gradually, I kind of started going to other brands. So, and I think you're going to show a picture of some of the watches that I do have. So I've been kind of buying 1 or 2 watches for each brand over the last few years. So these are kind of some of my watches. I'll quickly go through them. On the top left is Panerai Lunamore. It's a GMT. It's a 1033. And I absolutely love that watch. I know it's a little bit big, but the way the kind of the strap hangs over the lugs, is it's an absolutely gorgeous watch. The next
Was
one,
that, excuse me, was that your first watch after that tuck that you mentioned, or?
no, I think after the Tag, I had a Mont Blanc, a quartz Mont Blanc, which I don't have a photo of here. And then from there, I kind of bought an Omega Seamaster. I bought various Omegas, then some Zeniths, just kind of watches, a couple of watches a year. I was kind of buying, but I think this particular Panerai, I bought it last year, at the beginning of last year, and it's a fantastic watch. I probably don't wear it as much, and that's one of the problems with this particular hobby is when you collect a lot of watches, some of them don't get that much wrist time, but it's an absolutely fantastic watch. And what I like about that watch is that when you're resetting the time, when you pull it out to the time, the position to set the time, the second hand goes exactly to 0. It automatically sets to 0, so that makes setting the time really, 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 really good and easy. The GMT hand is pretty good as well. The only drawback is that it's a 12-hour GMT. It's not a 24-hour. So you can actually hide the GMT hand behind the hour hand, and then obviously change the hour if you're traveling forward or back.
Yeah, how do you do that? Is it always on operator over the crown?
Yes, so in the first position, you change the hour, and that also changes the date. So as you pass midnight, it'll update the date. And then on the full position where you set the time, the GMT hand will stay the same, but the hour hand will move. So yeah, it takes a bit of fiddling, but yeah, it's easy to set after a while. The next watch is my Datejust 41mm. It's on the Jubilee bracelet with a blue dial, with a blue stick dial. And that's another lovely watch, very elegant. You can wear it pretty much to anything. So I really like that watch. The next one is I've actually got 3 IWC, but I just kind of photographed this one. This is the Petit Prince chronograph. So I think I got this about 3 or 4 years ago. And yeah, I like that watch quite a lot. Again, I don't wear it as much as I should do, but it's a fantastic watch.
That is a dark blue dial, and the numbers and the hour markers are a little bit softened against the normal Pilot chronograph. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep. That's correct. Yep. That's good. And then the next one is an Omega Seamaster, and I bought this watch a few years ago when I was in Dubai, and the actual AD was had a cabinet tray of Omega watches with 40% discount, and so I kind of looked through them and I thought I'll pick this one. So this is a Seamaster Aquaterra. It's a 38mm case, titanium watch, and again it's a really good summer spring watch. So I do enjoy wearing that watch quite a bit.
Did it come with a metal strap originally, or on a
No, it came on a kind of a rubber leather kind of composite strap.
The rubber leather that we see on this picture then?
Exactly, yeah. It didn't come with a steel strap. And then on the top right-hand corner is my Yachtmaster 42mm. So that is probably the kind of the jewel in the crown of my collection. It's by far the most expensive watch I've got, and it's on an Oyster Flex band. And yeah, I love this watch, and I wear it as much as I can. And it's a beautiful, elegant watch.
I have one question here about that Yachtmaster. So first of all, I'm green with envy because I always liked that watch. For me personally, the 42 is slightly too big. I hope that one day they will bring it out in 40mm like that, and then I will be a buyer. But the bezel is not aligned to 12. Is that only a mistake, or?
That was a mistake. When I was photographer, I should have aligned it to 12. Yeah,
because you remember the discussion that I had with the now being fired Swis, and I refuse to reset my diver's bezel on my diver's watch. So I leave them just like they are, because I think those are tool watches, and there is no point in resetting them. So just leave them as they are and make a statement. Hey. I'm really using that bezel instead of putting it always perfectly back on.
Yeah, and I'm probably one of the people who always put it perfectly on, but
okay, yeah, well, that is also. I'm not making judgments. I'm just trying to give a new point of view to probably one of the viewers.
And you are correct. When I was getting this watch. I was kind of debating whether I go for this particular one or the rose gold, which is in 40mm. But I kind of went with the white gold because I like the kind of the black and the black and white combination of the numbers and the hands, and also it's kind of I like the stealth wealth. I don't like too much kind of showy gold on a watch. But that's by far the. Go ahead.
Does it sometimes disappoint you that it just looks like a steel watch, or?
I don't mind that it looks like a steel. I know myself it's a gold watch, but I don't want everyone else to notice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, Okay.
Yeah. And the next one is, and I always get the pronunciation wrong. It's a Chopard Miglia. And
I'm not Italian, so I won't correct you on that.
It's 1,000 miles, and I got this watch probably about 4 or 5 years ago. I like the kind of the aesthetics of the color, kind of the accents on the watch. I like the rubber strap, which is in the form of a tire. And again, it's one of those watches that at the time I wore a lot, but doesn't really get much wrist time nowadays. But it's part of the collection.
Can you tell us about the movement that is inside of this particular watch?
No, not too much.
Okay,
I think it's
assume
just a
it's
simple ETA. I think it's
yes,
an
I
ETA
think so.
movement,
Yes,
but
I think the Milli collection has
Yeah.
an ETA. Yes.
Yeah. And then the next watch is my Zenith Pilot. So it's a 40mm case, which is a good size for me. Kind of lots of the Pilots are kind of a lot bigger, but I love the kind of blue dial, the blue leather strap that goes with the watch, and I like the cathedral hands, and the general Pilot watch style is a style which I like a lot in a watch. And I like the big kind of crown as well. Although it's not as big and bulky as the IWC Big Pilot, but it's kind of it's chunky enough without being too big.
What I discovered now for the first time, I think that minute hand looks a little bit like Big Ben, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, yes, absolutely right. I hadn't noticed that before, but yeah, it does.
It just struck me. I apologize.
That's okay. And then the final watch is a Rolex GMT Master 2, the root beer. And I put that on a rubber B strap rather than the steel and gold bracelet that it came with, just because I kind of prefer the strap look. And yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of kind of bimetal straps. I kind of like them either steel or leather or rubber. I think it's it's a little bit more discreet with a rubber strap.
Yes, I think previously you said you like the stealth wealth of that Yardmaster, and I think
Exactly.
by putting that on a rubber B, tones that watch very much down and focuses it to the core and to the main points.
Fantastic.
Was there a discussion if you get another Oyster Flex for this particular watch?
No, I don't know if you could. I don't know if Rolex would give you an Oyster Flex for it. But yeah, maybe next time I'll ask. But
Yeah,
I don't
so
think they offer it for non-Oyster Flex models.
my AD offered it to me. I know him since many years, so I had the options to get just an Oyster Flex just like that. But then if you get the Oyster Flex, you also have to get the buckle then, the deployment buckle.
Okay.
Because so rubber B is easier with a tang buckle, but or do you have the original buckle?
No, I got the for the GMT Master rubber B actually have a kind of Velcro. You can get a Velcro option, so the bottom of the strap is actually Velcro.
Oh, okay.
So it wraps around, and it's I actually prefer the Velcro to the tag buckle. But yeah, I'm happy with the kind of the way it kind of looks and feels with a rubber B. But yeah,
oh, absolutely, yes.
So yeah.
So before we move on and talk about your further development, maybe we have a look at the comments. Here, Batch Guitar says hi, particularly to you. There is one interesting question about the code 1159s. I think I can easily reply to that. Keep in mind, APs are not made in Geneva. So why would they have a Geneva stamp? Because I think one of the requirements to get the Geneva stamp is that the watch is produced entirely in the canton of Geneva. So I don't think that any AP has a Geneva stamp unless AP lets them produce from a sub-supplier in Geneva. So Batch Guitar says hello again. Chris, what a beautiful collection, Mohammad. I can only agree with that. We also have here late to the party, Big Sal, happy to see Muhammad Ali. So you're getting all the love here from the audience. We must be careful that you're not taking over the show entirely. So, Chris, Mohammed, I have to get one of those jumpers. It goes with all the watches. Actually, that was one of the nasty questions that I wanted to ask. You have an 8-piece collection, and I know that you have more, but you only have one jumper. Or
Yeah, but I was just trying to get a photograph this afternoon.
Okay.
So it was, yeah, I've been wearing the same jumper. If everyone's interested, it's a grey color Ralph Lauren Wimbledon edition, which I got earlier this year. It's a lovely kind of it's kind of a polo shirt, but it's kind of a warm polo shirt.
I think it's a neat idea, to be honest. I've never seen that somebody is wearing the same kind of pullover or shirt with all their watches, but it gives a kind of consistency, and you see it right in the moment, and it's easy to compare the watches because everything else is toned out. So I think it's a neat idea. Never saw that before.
Thank you. It also, yeah, it's just the way things happen, but thank you very much for that.
So Batch Guitar says he likes the onion crown, particularly on the Zenith watch. Then we have Design Atelier here in the house, our good friend, and the guy who designed our intro video, which still blows my mind, to be honest. Every time I see it, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that he made that. It's so funny. It is such a trademark for us. I think we never want to change this, and it's just a brilliant work that he's done.
No, I love this design. His work is everything he's done is just so much quality, and that Swis and John intro is it still makes me laugh every time it plays.
Yeah, actually, I have hopes that Design Atelier makes something out of 8 watches and 1 jumper. So I have my hope that he's able to scribble something, but maybe it's too much to ask. So we have Batch Guitar here giving me some love. I'm doing very well, thank you very much. And we have here Boxer 1200. I've not seen that name before, so welcome to the show. Great to have you here. So what should we continue with, Mohammad Ali? Should we continue with Baltic or with Longines?
Either. We could, yeah, I think Baltic, yeah, would be good.
Okay. So there was an interesting thing on A Collected Man. Not sure if many of the viewers know A Collected Man. Fantastic webpage, fantastic source of information, and they made a limited edition watch of the well-known Baltic watch, and of course it sold out immediately. And I really like what they did there with their signature color in blue. And that roulette dial, you see those sector that looks a little bit like a roulette wheel. In my opinion, they did a very good variant of this particular watch.
No, I totally agree. I think I love the blue, the shade, the sector dial, the seconds. Yeah, it's a beautiful watch. But I think one of the problems with Baltic is that they make fantastic watches at very affordable prices, but you've got to be super quick on the buying of them.
Yeah, that's true. I think it sold out within minutes, and it was totally crazy.
Yeah.
And I agree that they offer tremendous value for money. Keep in mind that was £500, this particular watch, and it was just a little limited edition, and they put a lot of effort. And I just wanted to emphasize the movement, but it doesn't really get bigger here on that web page. So I'm trying to find the Baltic. 1 second. Baltic monochrome. Maybe we see how a standard run-of-the-mill Baltic watch looks like. And 1 second. Yeah. So I'm trying to pull that up. So here, for example, that is one of their standard watches with a press dial. It looks a little bit like the Moritz Grossmann Tremblage dial. The process is different, but I think the appearance of the dial is striking. And they are using a Chinese is it a seagull movement? I think it's a seagull movement here, with a decentral rotor. In my opinion, the finishing and the overall movement design is just striking when you consider the price. So here you have a watch for a very affordable price, and it looks amazing in both ways, front and back. And that is just something that you can really appreciate.
Yep, I completely agree. I think it's I've got to get on the Baltic website and get notified of upcoming watches. I think
Yes.
you got to be very quick and very sharp with them. Things like similar to Kurono Tokyo, which we'll talk about later, and
Yes.
Ming and all those kind of brands. They make fantastic watches, but you got to be very quick.
Yes, but that is part of the appeal of those watches. And I've just followed a discussion about independence on archi luxury, and I don't agree at all. I think when you're looking at the food that you're buying, you're trying to get away from industrially produced and designed food, and you try to get back to the roots, to smaller companies, to smaller units, who do a little bit different than what you see in a big supermarket shelf. And this is a development that I went through, that I really discovered the love for those independents. The crazy stuff that they do, sometimes it's so crazy that it is impossible to buy, but sometimes just something so nice comes up, and I think Baltic is one of them.
Yeah, I think the independents can obviously take a bigger risk in design and trying out new things. While obviously the bigger brands, it's harder for them to take a chance with being too innovative.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but I think that is an absolute winner here. And the A Collected Man edition. One second, I'm just trying to pull that up again. I apologize, my friend Swis is not here, so it's taking a little bit longer. So that was the blue Baltic here. One second. Here you see it again. Okay.
Good. I have to write that website down now. A Collected Man.
A Collected Man is a resource for me. First of all, they are even giving photography lessons. So their photographer, in my opinion, is outstanding. So he's teaching the people how he does it. And I discovered them because they make fantastic articles about Lange. And you can go really deep into. They have fantastic tastes in watches. So there's always something interesting to have a look at. So Chris Clues, hello again, says the Baltic gives me Moritz Grossmann Trompe Blanche vibe. That is true. The other one that I just pulled up, the process is different. And by the way, I have a request with Moritz Grossmann, but they didn't come back to me yet because I would like to know two things from them. The first thing I would like to know is on the Trompe Blanche. Maybe I pull it up before I'm talking so much. So, okay. So here we are. Here we have the Moritz Grossmann Trompe Blanche. We've been talking about this particular watch a couple of times now on the channel. What is so special about this watch is that it is not added numerals. So what they do is they start with a metal disc and then get over everything with the exception of those numerals, that Moritz Grossmann logo, that railway track, and the outer railway track. So it is a kind of negative engraving what they do. And my question to them was, if that process of negative engraving before the tremblage is applied, because that grainy structure, that is made by hand using a special kind of engraving tool called a chisel, and that is a lengthy process, needs a lot of skill to make that consistent. But before that finish is applied, I would like to know if this negative engraving is also being done by hand, or if that is done by a machine. So I'm waiting for their reply. The second thing that I would wanted to know is, Lange used to make a similar kind of dial a couple of years ago for a Handwerkskunst watch. Looks very familiar, and I would like to know if the same people who did that Lange dial have been also working on the Moritz Grossmann tremblage. So we have here Mrs. Higgins at Blue Baltic. Looks good and cheap. It's a watch I can imagine myself wearing. Mrs. Higgins, you're getting better and more expensive watches, but I agree with you, and it is 36 millimeters. It's not really a super big watch, and maybe we take the occasion. 1 second to find your watch. I think it's a good moment to change over to your Kurono watch. What do you think?
We could do that. Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. The Kurono Tokyo.
Oh, but actually, we wanted to talk about your development from Rolex to other brands. So what should we do?
Let's do the kind of development of other brands first.
Okay.
Okay. So as obviously you know, obviously I've got a few watches, and the last few years I've been kind of focusing on Rolex. So you saw some of the Rolexes that I have. I also have an Explorer 2 and a Blue Sea as well. I was obviously I'm getting to a stage now. I'm trying to now look at the holy trinity of watches to really go up the step up to the next level. And I did promise Jonathan I will look at Lange at some stage as well as I get more mature in the hobby. So I've kind of made contact with AP and with VC about getting some of their watches. So hopefully in the next few years, as I kind of as I mature as a collector. And also, I'm coming up to 50, into my 50s. I'm getting to a stage in my life where you enjoy the finer things. So really, the next stage is really kind of working on those particular models. But the kind of AD that I've been bought the majority of my watches has kind of asked me to kind of if I'm interested in going to Patek Philippe. And they would really like to get my next watch, a Patek Philippe, and they had an exhibition, some exhibition pieces a few weeks ago. So I popped into the AD, and they kind of showed me a whole set of kind of watches, mainly the kind of Calatrava range, the complications, and also the grand complication models. The sports models are just far too difficult to get, so they didn't actually even have them at the with the exhibition pieces. And again, I know Chris is going to enjoy that I'm wearing the same jumper again for these photos. So these are some the watches I tried out. So I think the two which they've kind of put down that I would be interested in, and they're going to try to get for me, is the 5212A, which is the weekly calendar, which is the bottom right hand side. I really love the kind of the complication of having a weekly calendar. Well, I think it's a triple calendar. It's obviously got the day, the month, the day, month, and the actual date as well. So I do really love the watch. It kind of fitted beautifully, and I love the kind of the opaque dial. I love the gold hour markers. I love the kind of text as well, which is used. Apparently it's all kind of, it's based on handwritten text. So I think it's just a beautiful watch. So I'd be very lucky if I could get one of these in the future.
Yes, you just mentioned it. It's handwritten text, but it's even more that type fonts that they use for those numbers and letters and months and days of the week.
Yeah.
What Patek did is they asked many of their employees to write down those terms, and
Yep.
then it has been scanned by a computer, and the computer calculated an average kind of handwriting out of that. And that is the result that you see on this particular watch.
Yeah.
So you can't get more soul from the Patek Philippe employees than that. Would you agree with that?
I would absolutely. Yeah, I think it's unique and it's beautiful, and the kind of text is just gorgeous. Yeah,
It's just a fantastic idea, also.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And then the other watch was the 522G, which I think the bottom left-hand corner. And this was a watch that when I initially kind of looked through the kind of website, it didn't really appeal to me. But actually trying it on, it actually wore beautifully. And I like the texture dial. It's one of those kind of watches when you actually see in person, it's a lot better than you think it will look. So I kind of love this watch as well. So this was the kind of the second watch that I put on the list that I'd like to get. So yeah, it's got a hobnailed side case. It's a beautiful watch.
Yeah, and it's also a kind of multi-piece case. So as far as I know, that those lugs are not connected to the case mid. Is that correct?
I think you're right. I'm not too sure, but I think you might be right.
Connected with the bottom.
Yeah. And I love both. Obviously, both watches as well. They have the easy to change straps as well, so you can change straps really easily. But yeah, those two kind of watches. I wanted to stick to a budget of about £30,000. I know the other watches are. Or the other complications are beautiful as well. But I wanted to kind of stick to a budget of 30,000, and those were two watches of that kind of price range that were the most appealing to me. So I'm relatively optimistic. I think this particular AD, when they kind of say they're going to try to do something, they generally do. If they weren't, then they'll kind of put me on a list and say, "Oh, we'll think about it in the future." But this, they actually want to kind of help me out. So I'm kind of hopeful that I will eventually kind of add a Patek to all the other watches and kind of move up the horology scale. But
that sounds amazing. So yes, I was just about to ask. So how does it go? You try on those watches and you say, I'm interested in those two, and then the AD tells you, well, I can't promise you anything, but we will try to make it possible. Or how does it go?
That's what they said to me. But the kind of the way they kind of told me was that I think you're at the stage where you should get a Patek. Have a look at these Pateks. Which ones are you interested in? We'll put you. You have a kind of a pecking order. So I put those two as the watches I want, and they'll say they'll try to get it for me. Which is kind of different to sometimes when I ask for something and they just put it on my interested list. But I know when they try to do something, this particular AD is very good at delivering. So I'm hopeful. But again, it's like with all these watches, and we've talked about Vacheron Constantin or AP as well. They're very hard to get and they take a long time. But you've got to kind of you got to work on it. But I'm hopeful. If it doesn't happen, it's okay as well.
I'm a little bit curious because you said, well, I was collecting Rolex and other stuff, and then I wanted to move to the finer things. What makes that switch, and what influenced you to do that?
I think a few things. I think as you get older, I'm approaching 50, so you kind of enjoy the kind of finer things. You want to enjoy kind of all the hard work you've done in your life, and also collecting watches for a number of years. You kind of enjoy the watches as you get them, but then you open your eyes to kind of what else is out there. And some of it's also in the YouTube content. You hear all these, you see these videos, and you see these chat shows as well, and it kind of opens your eyes to kind of what else is out there. So I think it's just a natural progression to kind of work through the kind of different levels of horology and kind of slowly work up. And obviously, as you get older, you do you work hard, and you earn extra money, and you get better benefits back. So you can afford the more expensive things as well. You can't afford these at 20 necessarily.
Yes.
But when you're 50, you can do.
And let's keep in mind this is a very sophisticated talk, because when you know people who are trying really hard to get their first Rolex, and if you talk to them, it comes to a shock to them when you tell them there are other brands that are much better than Rolex out there, and sometimes it shatters the world. And so
we does. And also, growing when you're kind of in your 20s and 30s, Rolex is the pinnacle of watch collecting. It's what everyone knows. When you think of a kind of a watch brand that you aspire to, it's Rolex. But
yes.
As you get older and more mature, you've kind of learned there's other brands out there. So,
What I would like to add to this kind of discussion, because it sounds like we are looking down on Rolex, and this is not the case. I advise everyone to keep their Rolex. Please keep your Rolex. And a very famous vintage watch expert, James Downing, said it in an interview, that you go through cycles in your life, and first of all, you try to achieve the goal of getting a Rolex, maybe a second one. And then, just like you say, you discover that there are other brands that are finer, that are different than Rolex, and you start to appreciate them. And maybe sometimes your love for Rolex is getting a little bit less because you're focusing on those high-end stuff. But then you will discover that there are times in your collecting life when you just look back and put a Rolex back on your wrist, and you just see how timeless, how well designed, how classic designed they are, and they are centerpieces. Those are poles in the watch history. So never underestimate a Rolex. And my personal experience, and the experience of a lot of watch collectors, is they always come back to Rolex. And they always appreciate them, no matter if there are much finer watches out there, just like Patek Philippe or some of the independents, or not.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with you, Jonathan. Yeah, I love my Rolexes, the ones I have, and I'll keep them for as long as I live. They're just incredible watches, and I'm wearing at the moment my Explorer 2. And even though I've got kind of other watches, I just love wearing the Explorer 2. And just when I'm out taking a walk or having a cigar, I just love having that on my wrist as I'm doing it. So it's a fact. Yeah, I know we do get spoiled in this hobby, and we go kind of always after the next piece. But yeah, we all should appreciate what we have and enjoy what we have.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so should we move to the Longines watch that was introduced last week? 1 second, let me just... So I think there is a number out there that every 10 seconds there is a Longines watch sold at some place in the world. So Longines is certainly a powerhouse in the Swatch group, and Longines is a little bit sitting on the higher level of their product range. It is not a Breguet, but it's not a Tissot. So they are trying to organize their watch families. And Longines is celebrating their 190th anniversary. And they updated their master collection a little bit, which in my opinion is a good thing. Let me check if we can see an old one here. No. 1 second. Longines master collection. We will see an old picture. Master collection pictures. Yeah, that is the old master. Okay. Okay, that is the old master collection, and yes, I think they made a big step ahead with introducing this new model. 1 second, I will pull the new one up now again. So this is a fantastic update in my opinion, and yes, for that anniversary, they made something very special, which is very unusual in watchmaking in general, and particularly in that price range, because they're using those sandblasted dials, but instead of printing or adding numerals on the dial, they kind of engraved them. So the numerals here are engraved, which gives this dial a very special appearance, and a very valuable appearance, in my opinion, as well. We are living in the age of laser engravers, yes, laser machines. So it's easy to laser engrave those things. But if you look at the numerals a little bit more detailed, you can see that there is an edge, a deeper edge. So to me, it looks like it's really done with an engraving instrument, and not only with a laser. I don't think that a laser can do those edges, those three-dimensional edges that you see here. So I think that is a very interesting visual effect. One little pet peeves that I have with this particular watch is that they printed their logo on, and the automatic. What do you think, Mohammad Ali?
I agree. I think if you're going to go to the effort of doing all the numbers with laser engraving, yeah, it looks like they cheaped out at the end. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Jonathan. It's a beautiful watch. It's very elegant. I think I don't know what the price point is, but I'd assume it was about 2,000.
Yes, around 2,000 it is
Yeah, I
in
think
pounds and euros.
I think that's a great price. If you want a good quality watch and that's your budget, I think you can't really go wrong with something like this. I think it's beautiful.
I agree. Yes, and they used the more expensive ETA base movement. Usually on many watches we're talking about the 2824 ETA movement. This is a more modern, slimmer 2892 movement, which is far more expensive to buy and to produce. It's a little bit slimmer as well. And I think they did a pretty good job in decorating it, bringing it to a very high standard. I also like that they pierced out that winged logo that is famous for them. 1 second, let's show the winged logo on the. 1 second, where's the winged there is no wing logo here on those watches. So you can see it here on the package in the background. Here, that is the old winged logo on the old factory building, and that is an old Longines also with the winged logo. So yeah, that is their mascot, their logo, and yes, they put it on the rotor and pierced it out that way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. The quality of the finishing on that, on this picture, is it's very good, and for the price point, it's very good value, I think.
Yeah, it's really high, and you can't expect an in-house movement for 2,000. But I think this watch offers you a lot of value.
Yeah.
They also made limited editions once in yellow gold, where they changed the tone accordingly. Those are, if I remember correctly, around 11,000, and those are limited to 190 pieces. So one edition in yellow gold and one edition in rose gold, which has that dark dial, which I really like. It looks a little bit like the dial on your Patek Philippe that you just ordered.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah. It's very nice. Very nice.
Now let's imagine because I think that this master collection will go on even after the anniversary. Now imagine this kind of dial in the steel model. How about that?
Yeah. Wow.
So just this gray anthracite dial in the steel watch, I think that would be a winner.
Yeah, they'll be able to churn out as many as they want. Then yeah, I think it's I think the Longines it's a very underappreciated brand, I think.
Yes,
And
certainly.
it's still for me it still screams luxury. I know the price point is kind of lower than a lot of other brands, but yeah, it's still got the class.
I think it is an entry to luxury watches,
Yeah.
which is a little bit different than Tag Heuer or something like that in a similar price range.
Yeah.
Have I shocked you
Again,
with
that
that
goes,
statement?
yeah. I think it goes back to kind of the conversation we are having earlier that luxury is kind of it's a very subjective term, and as your kind of journey in watches, what you consider luxury when you're 20 and 25 to what you think of luxury when you get to 50 or so changes, and also it changes as your wealth, as you can afford more expensive things. Then suddenly, what was luxury? I mean, for me, the Tag Heuer that I bought in 1997, that was a luxury watch. I mean, it was £600 at the time. Now, you have £600. I wouldn't consider that luxury, but at the time, and I love that watch. For years. But it's I think it's kind of luxury to the person, depending on their means and and how much you have to work to kind of to purchase one of these.
Yeah. So Danger Will Robinson just got home. Danger, please go to work. I think there was not a moderator so far in the panel. But I don't think that we had any trolls or anybody misbehaving. So everything has been calm, just like it usually is. But Danger Will Robinson, good to see you, and glad to see that you're back home. And Whole Milk gives me the perfect how do you say entry to what I wanted to talk about next, which is Naoya Hida. Where is it? Yes, here it is. And I got exactly the same feeling, just like Whole Milk, when I saw those dials. This is Naoya Hida. He's located in Tokyo. He was working for several watch brands, making their entry to the Japanese market, and he started a couple of years ago an independent watch company, and his hero is vintage Patek. And he admits that he designed his watches along the classic lines of vintage Patek Calatravas. In my opinion, that is the most significant watch that he made with the Central Second. One of his key points is also engraved dials with those engraved numerals. And those numerals are then filled up with lacquer. That is what he usually does. Yes, segue. That was the word that I was looking for. So yes, Naoya Hida. Actually, I was interested in getting one of his watches before this show. I checked my emails, and it's 2 years ago that I approached him because I wanted to get this particular watch. And I asked him what the delivery time is and how I'm gonna get it to Germany. And he himself replied to me immediately, and he told me, yes, you can get it within a couple of weeks. Now I'm hearing the ordering time is 8 years. So all the order books from him are closed, and sometimes he's opening the books, but there are waiting lines of 8 years now on those watches.
Wow.
And
years.
we just had the conversation about the beauty of independence, that somebody is just brave enough to make such a classic, legendary design, puts his own taste, his own signature on, and produces those things, because you won't get them from Patek Philippe. one of the criticism of Naoya Hida is that he's using 7750 movements and modifies them. Then you have seen that his watches are manually wound. 7750 is automatically wound, so he's removing the rotor, and he designs the top plates new along his ideas, which makes those movements incredibly flat because the chronograph part is missing and the automatic part is missing. So he gets relatively big movements that are very flat and that are visually very nice in his watches. So this is another example of a 7750 used in a different kind of way. Yes, even in high horology. And in my opinion, it's legitimate because he's putting a lot of work into those movements to modify them along his standards.
Yeah, but it does look very very impressive. I know you're saying that the weight is 8 years. What's the kind of approximate cost of one of these watches?
Those are like between 18 and 22,000, and depends on if you have the moon phase or not. So at the moment, he's offering the moon phase here, which is a little bit more expensive, and the decentral second hand, which are slightly below 20,000. Have a look at that. Just looks like an old Patek Philippe, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Yeah, I do love the blue hands. I have something strange about blue hands. I always find all their watches blue hands, which is incredible.
Yes, I agree. I can't get enough of blue hands. I had this discussion with our friend Benjamin Chi. There is a newer trend, I would say, that people are toning hands and movement parts to a purple degree. So it turns a little bit into purple. I personally find the blue much more attractive, but I see it more and more that they're doing those screws and hands now into a purple tone. Have you seen that as well?
No, not too much. Yeah, certainly the blue ones I've seen quite a lot. Yeah, and I like it was at the IWC have one as well, don't they? I know the Portuguese they have a fantastic blue blue hands on, or kind of a white dial. But yeah, I love blue on white.
Would you think that this kind of movement would justify a transparent case back, or is it along the Japanese design or making things as simple and plain as possible? Is that closed case back more appropriate? What is your opinion about that?
I think a closed case back is more appropriate here. Yeah, I think a closed case back looks better here. Yeah, the movement's good, but yeah, although
I tend to agree with you.
Yeah,
I tend to agree with you because also that decoration is quite simplified, and I think the old Pateks at that time didn't have open case backs. So in my opinion, another reason just to keep them as simple and faithful as it can be.
Exactly.
Okay, so
gorgeous.
Did I forget any topic that we wanted to discuss?
I think the only one we had, which I had on my list, was the Kurono Tokyo.
Kurono. I'm sorry, because you sent me a beautiful picture. 1 second, let me check. Yes, now that we're talking Japanese watchmakers, we are having one more treat. And people may recognize the sweater, the jumper.
Yeah, I don't think it's a different jumper to the one I was wearing
Oh, okay.
on the other photos. I have a few jumpers, and you probably see a few different colors. So this is the Kurono Tokyo, the special. I think it was 30. Yeah, it's a 34mm, and it went on sale in July. And there were 4 different color combinations. But I like the look of this one, so I went for it. I've heard a bit about Kurono Tokyo, obviously. A few YouTubers have got their various different watches over time, and I was always kind of envious that every time you go on the Kurono Tokyo website, everything is always sold out. So I kept an eye when this kind of range came out, and I think it was in July, and I logged on exactly at the time it was on sale, and then within 10 seconds I bought one. So I picked the that particular one. So yeah, I bought the black and red, the blue and red one. So the third one, which kind of appealed the most to me. They're 80 of each. So I was fortunate to get to pick up one, and it arrived a couple of weeks ago. And it's a fantastic watch for the cost of it. It is 34mm, so it's slightly on the small side. But I can just about pull it off on the photographs. But it's another one of those kind of Japanese independents that you always hear about. So I thought I'll give it a go and get one.
Yes, and I must say all the color combinations are really striking.
Yep.
I must say, and those watches are a little bit over £1,000, as far as I know.
That's correct. Yeah, it was just over
Yes.
£1,000.
So, but they also offer tremendous value, and it's also a kind of modernized Calatrava, I would say, probably that, or what?
Yep.
What? How would you characterize those
I'd
watches?
say it reminds me, and it reminds me of the JLC sector dial a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It has that kind of look. Certainly, it had that kind of look for me. But I think it was a couple of reasons. So obviously, I was interested again with Kurono Tokyo watch when this particular run came up. I looked through it, and I like the look of them. So I kind of cleared a half hour in my business day. I put an official diary entry in my work system, so that exactly at 3 o'clock. Exactly at 3 o'clock, I could grab one. But
How fast have they been sold out?
They were sold out within a few minutes. I was actually really impressed with the checkout process, because I know we've had the stories about Ming, and how kind of every time you can pull one into the basket, but the paying for it is complete.
That was horrible,
nightmare.
Wasn't it?
Exactly, and I know our sponsor, our channel, of your channel, had a number of Mings. But I managed to get a Ming obviously last year as well. But I was very impressed with because obviously these get sold out within kind of seconds. But you simply pull one into the basket, and it was an Apple Pay. And literally, it flew through, approved in seconds. So I was very impressed with the kind of checkout process. And I think for that kind of watch, where you've got hundreds of people trying to buy them online, the checkout was kind of a pleasure. So I do enjoy it.
I think the delivery was also fast, because I have one of the copper dial Kuronos that they issued a couple of months ago, and that took quite some time before they arrived here in Germany. So I think they improved their delivery process a lot. What I find stunning is, we've seen this huge Panerai on your wrist, and we've seen that 42mm Rolex Yachtmaster on your wrist, and now we see a 34mm Kurono on your wrist, and they all look good.
Oh, thank you, Jonathan. I actually, I think, I have gone, very much into the larger watches, but I do actually appreciate the smaller ones as well. So I think my kind of ideal size would be somewhere like a 38 to 40. But each watch has its own unique characteristics. Some watches, are meant to be bigger. Other watches can be smaller. So
it's just a fun watch.
range.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's a fun watch, and I think the that baby blue bracelet is just astounding. It comes from a very famous Japanese manufacturer for leather straps, and I think you can see it throughout the range, and they just match beautifully.
Exactly.
So for the viewers, I've posted the link just in case somebody would like to hop on and maybe ask a question. So far, we have been through our program that we prepared to do tonight. So if you have any questions in the chat, or if you would like to join us, please be free to hop on, and we will try to do what you're asking for. Yes, so that Kurono is a fun watch, I guess, and it's more a summer watch than a winter watch for you.
Exactly. So yeah, I've been wearing it a few times in the obviously I've only got it a few weeks ago, but I've been wearing it when we had some good weather in the UK. I've been wearing that quite a bit, so I like to wear this. And another one which I know I showed you a picture of it earlier in the kind of show is the Omega Seamaster Acroterra. Again, that's a 38 mil, so a slightly smaller watch, but because it's got the kind of white dial, it's got a titanium case, and it's got a kind of a leather rubber strap. Again, that's another great watch that I enjoy, especially in spring. You can wear that watch, and when you're going with a polo shirt and shorts, and you're just going for a walk or you're going to the beach, it's one of those kind of watches that you could you can enjoy for when the weather is lovely.
It was that watch here.
It was that one on the I really love that watch as well. But that's the kind of beauty of this particular hobby. We can have all these different types of watches. We can have casual watches. We can have sports watches. We can have dress watches. We can have all these various different complications, and each of them has a time and a place.
Yes,
and also a budget as well. And that's kind of what I like about this particular hobby. And also what I like about is the kind of friendships we build up as well. So I really appreciate appearing in your show, John, and you've always been very welcoming to me. And so I want to thank you as well.
Well, I would like to thank you because you're supporting virtually every single channel here that is, and you're just full of positivity and support, and that is something that I really appreciate. I know you for a very long time from the Perth Luxury days. I know that we had a lot of fun over there, and I see you on other channels, and there's nothing than positive comments from you, and that shows what kind of person you are. So
thank you.
All compliments back to you.
I do love it with the Perth avatar, just smiling down on us. It just makes me, it kind of just, no matter kind of what mood you're in, that smile just disarms you.
That smile, we must bring it on a T-shirt, I think.
Absolutely. Obviously, if anyone wants to join, you're more than welcome to.
It seems that the viewers are asleep or are too shy to come on. So I would suggest that we wrap it up for tonight. We would like to thank our sponsor, Mr. GMT. I will run his ad before we run the trailer, and I would like to thank all the viewers. And I would like to thank you, Mohammad, for being so spontaneously and hop on and help me out. It was a great pleasure, and thank you very much again for your support.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for, and thank you both, you and Swis as well, for kind of hosting this channel. For a few, is it? I think it's 36th episode onto you, so it's probably 3/4 of a year.
Yes.
It's brought me a lot of joy on a Saturday evening. So I always listen to you guys and hop on as well for the after show. And I kind of I love your kind of knowledge in the watch industry and all the kind of technical sides of what goes into watchmaking. And you and Swis can know all these terms that that I have no idea. But I just enjoy listening to you guys talking about it.
You mean geeking out?
Absolutely.
Okay, I posted the link again just in case that somebody wants to join the after show. I'm running with the trailer. Thank you very much again for joining me. Thank you very much for being on the show in the chats, and hope to see you very soon. Run the trailer.
Come and get